Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webcast series. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm here with Foundation Software. We've got Jim Welsh on the line as well. Jim is with Payroll for Construction. And James Mack is on the line. He is with McCormick Systems Estimating Software. I appreciate everybody's time today. We are going to give everyone here a general overview of Foundation, Payroll for Construction, and then McCormick Systems as well. So the purpose of today's webinar is really just to kind of get a feel for what we have to offer for anybody that's exploring changes with their accounting software or their estimating software, or those that are looking to outsource payroll. So everybody on the line here, we're all part of the Foundation Software umbrella. And we're just going to give everybody, again, a pretty quick look at some of the functionality that we have to offer. So you see here the all-in-one back office solution from accounting to estimating to payroll. The beauty of all this is all these systems talk to one another. They're all integrated. So that's going to be the focus today. Everybody is in listen-only mode. So if there are questions, you can fire them over into the little question section of the GoToWebinar pane. What we typically do is save those for the tail end of the presentation. So we'll go through our overviews, and you all can just throw those questions into the control panel. Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's not as many. We'll just sort of address those case by case. And we're really going to sort of section this thing off. So I'm going to focus on Foundation initially. James is going to get into a bit of the McCormick side, and then Jim is going to wrap things up with the a little overview and an explanation of what Payroll for Construction can do. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pop into my next slide here. So this is us. This is me on the left. We've got Jim here in the middle, and then we've got James from McCormick over on the side here. And you can see all of our contact info. Everybody can feel free to grab a screenshot of this or go ahead and take a picture if that's easier with your phone. Again, this will be pretty high-level overview. We're not going to dig into a ton of detail today. Figure each one of these will be about 10 minutes for each one of the each section of the presentation. For those that do want to take a closer look, you can always feel free to reach out. We do a lot of one-on-one webinars or one-on-one demonstrations catered to each particular company. So with this being fairly general, anybody that wants to dig a little bit further, you just let us know, and we'll get you on the calendar more for a one-on-one. All right, so Foundation Software, we'll start there. We are all about job cost accounting. This is a full accounting software, payables, receivables, general ledger. It all revolves around job costing. So you see here we're tracking actual costs to versus estimates. You can see budgets and comparing job performance. So with our system being an accounting program, what we're doing is eliminating spreadsheets, eliminating manual reporting entries for job costing. So the majority of our clients that come over to Foundation, they're either coming off of generic QuickBooks type software or older legacy type systems, needing something a little bit more current. But again, this is all about job costing, all about job tracking to manage those job performances. Now, in the way of info on our company, you can see here Foundation, established in 1985. We're just over 400 employees these days, and you can see here about a quarter of our staff are dedicated to training and support. So on the client service side of things, a pretty attractive part of how we work over here. It's all done in-house. So we develop our own software, we sell, we train, we support, meaning no third party involved, no dealer, no reseller type model. A pretty attractive part of this whole big picture is buying into a culture, into an environment. A lot of folks are into that we do provide everything direct. And that's across the board. That's with Foundation, that's with Payroll for Construction, and that's also with McCormick. So with Foundation, you can see here construction is the only industry that we work in. We've got just over 6,000 clients that use our system, about 25,000 plus users. When you do the math, figure a handful of users for each company. So with this being construction driven, that is all we do. We only work construction industry. We don't dip into different industries or different software programs. And down toward the bottom here, multiple solutions, multiple product lines. So we've got the job cost accounting, which is what we're going to focus on today on the foundation side. We've got some project management capabilities, estimating on the McCormick side with Takeoff. We've got mobile apps, and on Jim's side of things with Payroll for construction, we've got the payroll processing as well. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pop into Foundation, and I'm going to give everybody a little peek at what our software can do. So the Foundation system, this is the main menu that a user would see when they log in. We've got these base modules up on top here. That's the backbone of our system. That's the core accounting software, or the core accounting part of the software. We've got these additional modules here in this middle section as well. These are optional depending on the type of work that you do. Civil contractors would use equipment. The electricals of the world would use inventory, potentially service dispatch for those that have a service division. And then you see down here toward project control, these modules would be more on the operations side of things. And I'm going to start with what we call the executive dashboard. This will give everybody a pretty good feel for what we can do, and this is the backbone of our system. It is real-time job cost tracking, no spreadsheets, no double entry, no manual entry. So the thought behind this dashboard is, let's start on a very summarized level. Let's just see how we're doing overall as a company, and then drill down into greater and greater detail. So the left side would show totals for all of your active jobs. The right side would show each of those jobs individually that account for those totals with an estimated versus actual, with a percentage of completion. Now, if I click this little button that says View Report, it drills down into a WIP schedule. So the WIP reports, the over-under billing, this is our wheelhouse, percentage of completion, over billings, under billings. Once again, no spreadsheets, no manual calculations. All of these numbers are feeding in by way of the job setup and the day-to-day accounting entries. Now from here, off of this WIP, click a job that you want to look into a little bit further. Here's a summary of that specific job. Contract versus billing, or excuse me, contract amount versus billings, estimated versus actual cost, gross margin, change orders, percentage of completion. So these are all numbers for that one job that we clicked into. And then from here, you can keep digging into greater detail. A lot of our new clients would, a goal, I guess, is to use cost codes and to see detail within that job. So instead of just seeing an estimated cost of $449,000 versus an actual cost of $197 and having to stop there, we can click this little link that says Job Cost Detail. And here's the breakdown of various cost codes. Only my examples here. These are all customizable. Here's codes within that job to break down that 449 estimated and that 197 actual. Now within these codes, a user can break down further to see labor for that code that fed in from payroll, material costs that came out of accounts payable, subcontract, equipment, labor burden we allocate as well. So these we call cost classes, and you're able to see the class detail within each one of those respective codes. Now with this being real-time reporting, if you want to see how this 4,200 in labor breaks down as an example, we can click labor, and here's every transaction that fed in from payroll that accounts for that 4,200 labor cost within that code, within that job that we clicked into initially. Now that's getting into the labor granularity. If we get into the material side of things, in this example here, you can see I've got a couple payable invoices that account for my material cost. If I click either transaction number, it's going to show the detail of that payable. And then with our document imaging in mind, if we click this little paperclip icon, now we're drilling down into the scanned image of that specific material invoice or whatever type of transaction it happens to be. So the ease of accessing the data, pretty evident here. Think of this dashboard as a bucket. It's gathering data by way of your day-to-day accounting entries. Anybody can come in here and just run these reports and see all those numbers in real time. So just one example of some of the reports that we can provide here. In addition to that, just to point out a couple other construction-specific items, on the billing side of things, Foundation does have the AIA built directly in. So anybody that needs to bill on a schedule of value, for example, all of the data that you see on this general tab here, this goes to your front page, 702. And then on the G703 tab, or excuse me, G703 page, that's where you'd see all of the information here on this billing tab. So that's where you see all your different line items. Now you notice we're on application 1, so I haven't billed for this particular job yet. When you're ready to bill, you could bill by the dollar amount and it calculates the percentage, or you can bill by percentage and it calculates the dollars. So easy enough to get these numbers in. We also track retainage. So all of the QuickBooks users of the world that are logged in here, no workarounds for retainage, no double entry. This is a true retention process. You can just tag a percentage to the job record, and then it knows what to calculate moving forward. Now that retainage does show in its own column on the aging report. So not only does it not require a separate entry for retainage, it also keeps it separate on the aging, so you're not showing a bunch of current due balances on that aging that truly are not. True retention process, again, with us being designed for construction. Now the AIA itself, that can be generated and it can be printed directly out of our system onto a blank piece of paper. And a user could always PDF this or kick it out to Word or Excel, whatever format. Otherwise, if you print this, this would go right onto a blank piece of paper, both pages, 702 and 703. So that's one thing I always like to show during these webinar presentations. Always a struggle out there for those that are Excel reliant and having to enter those AIAs into Excel, then having to enter a separate invoice into the accounting software. This would just eliminate that double entry and streamline that process. Another thing to point out, again, we're bouncing around a little bit here. On the payroll side of things, now Jim's going to get to a lot of the payroll processing questions and sort of explain how our payroll service works. With that in mind, this is a true payroll module, full payroll module, meaning those that want to process payroll in-house, very doable, all the way down to W-2s at the end of the year. Now, those that don't want to handle all that stuff manually, that's where Jim's side of things comes into the picture with the payroll processing. Otherwise, full payroll, including certified payroll. So anybody out there that's working prevailing wage, we do have electronic certified payroll formats, EMARS, LCP tracker, Ashtoware. So a number of these formats that we have embedded into our system, we'll kick a file out, just export it, and then you can upload it to the LCP website, for example, and eliminate that double entry. Otherwise, if you go to the printed option, a user can print the certified payroll directly out of our software onto a blank sheet of paper as well, just like the AIA goes onto a blank piece of paper. So here's your standard Department of Labor, WH-347, and then we'll print the signature page as well. For anyone out there that has state-specific needs, we do have, or even agency-specific, cities and counties and whatnot, we've got a ton of these formats that are built into Foundation. So we'll have the standard WH-347 and then more of these state-specific forms for anybody that needs something a little bit more detailed. And with all that in mind, we do have a mobile app that can be used out in the field to capture those payroll hours. So the mobile app can pick up labor hours, it can pick up equipment hours for the heavy construction companies out there. It can pick up purchase orders and weather conditions and whatnot. So again, not to get into the guts of this thing, but just know that we do have it. Those that are out in the field, that could be each employee or that could be a supervisor entering time for a crew. All of those numbers would feed directly into Foundation, considering it's our mobile app that's feeding into our software. It's a seamless data feed without exports, imports. Again, not a third-party software that we're bolting on here. All right, so complete crash course here. It just gives everybody a little taste of what we can do. Job costing, AIAs, certified payroll, all very important here. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hand things over to James, and just bear with me here while I fumble my way through the GoToWebinar. All right, so I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint real quick. James is going to go through a few of these bullet points, and then I'll go ahead and kick the screen over to James. So James, it's all yours.
All right, good deal. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, good deal. Appreciate it, Patrick. Yeah, so my name is James from McCormick Systems. Been with the company about 10 years. As Patrick stated, I want to just run you through a quick, super high-level rundown of McCormick. So a little background on us. We've been around for 40 plus years. We're really known as the industry leader in electrical estimating, and more recently, plumbing and mechanical as well. So we offer an all-in-one solution. We're going to be able to take you from, that PDF that's emailed to you, the set of prints, and, to be able to kick out a proposal at the end of that and every step in between. So we're really looking to help streamline the estimating process. We're going to obviously simplify and speed things up for you. Program is going to, and I'll get into this a little bit in a second, but you're going to get industry-specific databases that are, very comprehensive, built-in labor units, material pricing, the ability to update that material pricing on a regular basis. And, ultimately, we're looking to help you increase accuracy, the consistency of the numbers you're kicking out, and you'll have great historical data to reference and pull from. You're also going to get design capabilities, from the system if anyone does any kind of design build work. And at the end of the day, we really just want to help you win jobs and be profitable. So again, real high level, I'm going to take you through the 5 steps of putting a bid together here. And if you want to dig a little deeper and if you see something you're interested in, I certainly recommend that, because I'm going to take what I usually spend an hour to an hour and a half on and condense it into 10 minutes. So, you kind of see what we can do, and then, like I said, we can dig a little deeper if you're interested. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here now.
Yep, and James, I'm going to make you the presenter here.
All right.
All right. Yep, there you go.
All right, we seeing McCormick now in here?
Yep, looking
awesome.
Good, yep.
Good deal. So as I mentioned, it's a 5-step process to put a bid together. You're going to have a link. You're going to have a way to access your program. We are in the cloud, so you're going to log into the system, and this is what you're going to see. And you're going to work through these 5 steps here. So step 1, it really is just setting up the job in the system and bringing your plans in. You're going to fill in the job information and add your drawings. So people always want to know how we get drawings, and there's a difficult process. If you know how to attach a document to an email, it's virtually the same process. You hit add drawing, this little add drawing button over here, and really that's it. You just import all your files, and these are now a permanent part of your job. We never have to worry about bringing these in again. So, at minimum, we need to obviously create the job in the system and bring our blueprints in if we have them. A lot of what you see here is all customizable. The program really can be molded to fit a particular contractor's needs in terms of how you organize everything and how we start to set up specific specifications, details in the program. And those are things I won't necessarily go into today, but understand that it is very flexible when it comes to using the program and getting it dialing it in the way you want it. So step 2 here really is just about the organizational structure of your bid. We're thinking about a couple things here. How can I be organized to make sure I get everything accounted for? And then ultimately, we obviously hope we're gonna win the project. So have I broken this down in a fashion that allows me to run reports? Patrick mentioned AIA style billing. This can sort of tie to that because you're ready to bill for that last 30-day cycle or whatever it is. You want to be able to pull up information that will back up those numbers. So we can run reports off of these labels that we set up. So again, 2 things to think about here, really just how we can make sure we account for everything and give ourselves an easy way to go back and review, as well as how we might actually bill for the project. We get into step 3. This is takeoff. This is something, a part of the program that McCormick is really known for in the industry, and specifically, it's a feature we call workspaces. And really, this is the ability to talk about kind of molding the program to fit your particular needs. If you work in a particular niche in your industry, if I'm doing just commercial TIs in the electrical industry, or maybe medical office buildings, I can start to organize my database and my screens to make it easy to find those materials. You know, when we're doing those types of projects, there's a certain group of materials that we're just going to see over and over on every single project. So we want to be able to have quick access to those materials. Our database that you get out of the box, if you will, is about 50,000 items, 30,000 assemblies pre-built into the system. You know, assemblies are obviously going to be groups of items. So when we take off a switch or a receptacle, it's getting all the you know, ancillary parts and pieces. When I run a you know, 100 feet of conduit, I'm not having to go in and calculate how many connectors, couplings, you know, how much wire I'm going to need, and straps and things like that. The program is doing a lot of that stuff for you, and everything's going to have built-in labor as well. So super easy. I just want to mention this is something I typically take people through in a more comprehensive demonstration, is how we customize the program, how we create our own assemblies. McCormick is really known for ease of managing the database. It's very easy to add things on the fly, manipulate for a particular job. You know, we're really about being efficient in takeoff and the estimating process as a whole. All right, so workspaces, again, is this ability to create shortcuts. Always like to, as a key point, like to talk about workspaces. Anyone that's used McCormick will tell you that this is something that is a must-have. This is something that really makes them efficient at their job. Second thing here is Design Estimating Pro, and this is the ability to do takeoff, you know, right on the screen. Most of us are getting PDF drawings at this point. And we have to have an easy way to count and measure. And with McCormick, you know, typically, you know, you're working with two screens, but today I'll show you from a single. What we would do is just grab an item we want to count, and we just go to our screen and start left clicking. So with every left click you see here, obviously I'm counting. We see the count over here in our legend on the left. But with each click, it's getting box, cover plate, ground screw, mud ring, box support, the labor to install it, and the price. So it's estimating for us while we actually mark up the drawing. And we're really, you know, for the most part, doing two things here. We're counting or measuring. So grabbing from my database, in this case, if you notice this little list on the right-hand side that I grabbed from, that's called a favorites list. This is another one of those like workspaces, those shortcuts. These are user-defined. You're gonna put your most commonly used materials right in there, and it's really just quick grab and go type of items. You know, what are the items, what are the assemblies that I you know, typically find myself taking off you know, in the type of jobs that I bid. Yes, we give you 50,000 items and 30,000 assemblies. You're likely to use a fairly small percentage of those on a regular basis, so get those in those favorites lists. As far as linear takeoff goes, really couldn't be any easier. Left click to start a line, double click to end it. So left click, double click, all right? And that will end that. If I want to go back to the panel, left click, double click, and the run. It'll also drop down into my panel when it gets there, all right, if I wanted to. So very easy to do linear takeoff. All right, I can go as the crow flies. I can snap everything to 90, which is typically what people would do. Looks a little cleaner on the drawing. We've also automated some of that process. I won't really touch on auto count today, but I have an auto count. You know, there's different programs that do that out there. You know, at this point, we've seen that feature over the years. One of the things that McCormick has, though, is actually the ability to run home runs automatically. So linear values here. So I could actually hover over a particular area here, and this one here, this circuit is going back to panel B, right? And I can have it go back there for me automatically and drop down into the panel. So this is a feature that is unique to McCormick. Again, it's just about trying to help you speed up the process, be efficient with your takeoff. So auto count, auto home run included in the system. You actually can auto count and auto home run, which is great for the low voltage industry, which when, you know, typically everything that you do, every device that you put on that drawing is going to have a home run back to a data rack or something like that. One of the key takeaways here, as we count everything on the screen, of course, we see everything in the legend over here on the left-hand side, all right? If I minimize my drawing real quick, we look at our audit trail, you'll notice everything down here is these are the items, the assemblies that I just took off on the drawing. So McCormick is a true all-in-one system in that our digital takeoff portion of the program is integrated. It's a part of our estimating software. So unlike other programs where you count and measure in a system and then take that information and then either manually enter it or push it over through some kind of like a third linking program or something like that to get it into your estimating software. Ours is an all-in-one. So when I take something off on this drawing, it's being counted, measured. Again, all the extra parts and pieces are being tallied for me. Labor is being figured, the price is being figured as I go. If I delete something off the drawing, same is true. It's going to take it out of my audit trail. If I delete it out of my audit trail, it's going to take it off the drawing. So you never have to worry about the information, the flow of information from one piece, I guess, if you want to call it that, to the other, because it really is truly an all-in-one system. So step 3 here is really just about getting your counts and measurements. Let's run to step 4 here real quick. Really, this is just a sort of a review of all your takeoff. Right? What have we got here? The program takes all of those assemblies, it breaks them down into their individual parts and pieces. This is where we can start to separate these out so we can drill down and kind of look at the individual areas. I created those breakouts, those label sets, so that I could view that information kind of in isolation if I wanted to, and here we see that. So I can look at all of my breakouts for each particular area. Here I'm just sort of looking for any red flags, any numbers that don't make sense to me. I want to make last minute changes to labor, pricing, I can do that here. All right, and this is kind of the point where you're inserting your experience as an estimator into the system and kind of making those final adjustments. And then lastly, we're going to hit step 5. We'll run through this real quick. Won't go into a ton of detail on this, but really this step is about applying a labor rate to those 830 hours in this case. We can start by building crews for the particular project. If you are a smaller contractor and you just want to use a flat rate for your commercial jobs or something, you would simply enter that value here. I'm going to put 100% of my hours to a rate of $95 an hour, and my labor is calculated. So you can get very detailed. If you want, you can keep it very simple. You do have the ability to build a burden schedule in here to figure all your FICA and your workman's comp and your unemployment insurance. So again, detailed or very simple, up to you how you do it. As we work across these tabs, we're really just kind of entering any additional expenses in on the job. So you're filling in your supplier quotes, your subcontractors, your direct job expenses, any equipment rental, tax, and there's additional information that could be additional cost tabs that you could add in here as well. From here, we would just push this into a proposal. We could also use your foundation export if you're a foundation user and push this information over into your foundation program and start to set up a budget in there, push material lists, price lists and things like that over into foundation. So that is, as I said, a very, very high level overview of McCormick. Really the key takeaways should be the 5 steps. The ease of doing takeoff, the ability to count, measure on the screen, the fact that we're an all-in-one program here, and some other things real quick just to touch on: built-in change order management, built-in executive dashboards as well to kind of track your projects over a given time period. But lastly, and before I turn it over to Jim here with P4C, is we're going to help you get up and running on the system. So, we have a proven method to help you be successful with the program. Program is going to come with some training. You have unlimited access to, tech support. Give us a call at any point. We have tons of training videos out there. So there's a lot of levels of help that are, accessible to you to get up and running on the program. Yeah,
good deal, James.
That's a wrap for me. Yeah.
Awesome. That's a lot in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Very impressive. Excellent. All right. Yeah, appreciate that. So what we will do here is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. All right, and we're going to hand things off to Jim over on the payroll service side of things. Jim really isn't going to show anything, and I'll just touch on that real quick, and then I'll hand it to him. So the payroll for construction uses the foundation accounting system to process payroll. So what you saw on the foundation side of things would more or less, at least on the payroll side, be identical to the payroll for construction piece. So just to kind of throw that out there, it's not a separate program. It is it's using the foundation, the guts of that program to process the payroll. So with that in mind, Jim, we'll go ahead and hand it over to you, and you can give your little spiel, and I'm going to go through these slides as you're talking.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pat. Thanks, James. Yes, guys, I will keep this pretty quick here for you because I definitely want to open it up for questions, make sure we get those answered. As kind of, Pat and both James said that, if any of these interest you, you have questions, doing the one-on-one personal demo is just the best way to let us tailor it to your company's needs and kind of spend time with you one-on-one to really go through these products to ensure they'd be a good fit for you. So payroll for construction, it's a payroll service, like an ADP or Paychecks, but obviously built for contractors. So, we check all the boxes of doing the checks, the direct deposits, the city, the state, the federal taxes, the quarterlies, the W-2s, Affordable Care Act stuff, all the things a standard service would do. What makes us unique is, again, that piece of it being powered by parts of foundation. So really at Payroll for Construction, we kind of have two types of clients. We have ones that own foundation, which means they already technically kind of have a payroll service they're ready to go. Of course, they can choose to run foundation software and do all their payroll internally. But they could also say, I want to put my payroll in the foundation, and then I want to be able to have us jump in and pay the employees and the taxes. So back in 2005 is when kind of, we had a lot of people coming to foundation and a lot of people looking to also outsource their payroll. But, that becomes difficult when, you got to use one of these services that don't really understand construction payroll. Payroll is the engine of any accounting system. So the minute you remove it from there, even you hear the word integration, there's still quite a bit of back and forth. So we developed Payroll for Construction really for two reasons. One, help our foundation clients out. But two, we saw there was a market there where there were a lot of companies that called that might not have been ready for foundation software, maybe due to the size of their company, or maybe they had already invested a lot of time and money into a current ERP system. So we built Payroll for Construction, and we can have that, not only integrate with foundation software, but if you're on QuickBooks, if you're on a Sage product, you can run payroll through us, and then we can, export that general ledger, job cost, accounting data back into your accounting system so that you're not stuck doing payroll twice. So we handle payroll in all 50 states. So whether you're a contractor that, resides in one state and all your employees reside in one state, or whether you have employees spread out through the U.S. or crossing into different jobs in different states with different taxing jurisdictions, we can handle all that. We really are a home run for union, government, prevailing wage contractors. Not that we don't have contractors that don't do that or do very little of that type of work. Those things really start to make the payroll even more messy. There's, the compliance reporting. There's different rates, fringes based on potentially where they're working and what they're doing. And also, like foundation, one of the main things there is the job costing. Because it's powered by parts of foundation, you get that same detailed job costing. So a lot of contractors don't believe they can outsource payroll because job costing is so important to them. And a lot of these other services just either flat out can't do it or they just don't do a great job of it. So it's one of those things where we try to let everybody know, whether you're on foundation or not looking to move to a new ERP, Payroll for Construction can be in foundation or can act as a standalone payroll service. And real quick, Pat, I think I can do this. I'm just going to share one thing on my screen before I open it up for questions. Let me see if this will let me. Okay, tell me if you got my screen, Pat.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, so this right here, again, if you're a foundation client, you already have all of it in there. So we can install a submit payroll button so that we can jump in and pay the employees and taxes without your payroll ever leaving foundation. If you're a QuickBooks user or some other type of, software, we can install a button here to create a file to upload back in there. But as you can see, it really is just, we carved out the parts necessary, the GL, job cost, and payroll module, the parts necessary. So rather than logging in online and seeing ADP paychecks, or even payroll for construction for that matter, clients do learn to know us as Foundation, even though they may be using us as a standalone payroll service. So with that being said, I'm going to pass this back to you, Pat, and you can go ahead. I think this is coming back to you, Pat. This may go back to
Yeah.
You got
back to
okay,
me.
Cool.
Yep.
And you want to open it up for questions?
Yeah, we're going to open up for questions, and I don't see a ton of them in here, so we'll be pretty limited on these. Some of these will be Foundation, some of these will be for James on the estimating side as well. All right, so one of the questions was, is this specifically for electrical? Foundation is not. So the accounting system, that is really any construction company. The payroll service, any construction company as well. On James's side for McCormick, it is electrical and mechanical and plumbing. So that's really their niche, their focus. But as far as Foundation and the payroll service are concerned, yeah, if you're a contractor looking for job costing and help with construction payroll, then yeah, it doesn't really matter what type of work you do. All right. Let's see here. There's a question out here, the mix of clients Foundation versus non-Foundation. I believe that may be on the payroll side of things, if that's where that question is asked. And Jim, what would you think?
Three. Yeah, I was going to say the next three, and feel free to retype in that question if I'm missing kind of what you're asking there. But the next three, I think I can take care of, Pat. Or actually, okay, I can take care of these next few. So the mix is, if you're a Foundation client versus non-Foundation, it's almost 50-50, meaning let's say we had 6,000 clients, half would use it, half may not be using Foundation at all. So it's a pretty good mix there. And as far as the third-party ERPs go, QuickBooks, whether it's desktop or online, payroll for construction can integrate with that. If they're on Sage 300, really good integration there, your Spectrums, your Vistas, stuff like that. We've done it with Acumatica. We've done it with just about all of them. There's a few Sage products that, the 50, the 100 that just don't play well with others, and there's not much we can do there. And then an HR element, glad that was brought up. So this will be available to both Foundation clients and payroll for construction clients. So we're in the midst of building an onboarding package that should be out towards first quarter of next year. So with construction, we're just seeing now more and more clients using the mobile technology. The field staff just sometimes doesn't take to it, but we're seeing more and more clients that all their employees are on direct deposit. So with us, they can, whether it's Foundation or payroll for construction, they can go online and view their pay stubs. This ties into the next question. How do you get time into Foundation? It can be entered, or we have mobile app. We have a mobile app. There's other vendors we work with out there that have mobile apps. So we're just seeing that technology start to really spread down into the field. So we thought the next best move would be onboarding, HR, benefits admin, tracking, and stuff like that. So we will have a product out for that here shortly. And those that are payroll, so that was still answering about 50% are just payroll service, and the other 50 are Foundation and payroll service. And Pat, do you want to, one last thing,
yeah.
CMIC we can integrate with as well. We can build a file for them. Go ahead, Pat.
Yep, no sweat. Yep, so yeah, and then one other question that's left here, it relates to how long does it take to get Foundation up and running, switch over to Foundation. So it could run anywhere from 2 months on the short end to 4 months, maybe 5 months for some of the larger companies that are out there. Our sweet spot is about a 3-month turnaround. So from the day that you are signed up as a client until you are fully up and running on Foundation, figure roughly a 3-month process, give or take, depending on the size of your company. Yeah. All right, and then there was a question that came in just afterwards related to that. So implementation, it is all self-performed. So no third-party partners. Really our style is to see this through from start to finish. So with Foundation and really with McCormick and Payroll for Construction, same concept, same approach, method, everything in-house. So we sell, we train, we support, not going through any type of third party. It's been successful for us. It's worked. It's really what we know. It's kind of our bread and butter. So yeah, we just prefer to work directly with our clients without really getting a third party involved, and that does apply to data conversion as well. So yeah, same process with us working directly with you. Yep. All right. Yeah, it looks like we've pretty much touched on them all. There's a few out there that we may not be able to get to, but here's my suggestion is if anybody threw a question out there that we didn't get to, just shoot us an email or give us a call. We can help on that end of things as well. So yeah, I will go ahead and pull up our contact info one last time here, so everybody should see the contact info for me and for Jim and for James. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Like I said, if anybody does have any questions, yeah, go ahead, Jim.
One last thing, the Procore integration, somebody just threw a question. We have very good relationship with Procore, very good integration there. And if you have estimating questions, defer them to James. He can really do a good job of kind of just seeing what you have going on as far as, what you do and see if it works. If not, we have some other vendors and stuff like that too we can talk about.
Yep, perfect. Excellent. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's time. So yeah, we'll let you all get back to your days. If we can help in any way, you just let us know, and we will kind of go from there. Thanks again, everybody, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.